Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the video. This is now video 4 for the large U-shaped Paludarium build, and I decided I better put another one of these up pretty much right away, because I just did one on Wednesday. There's an awful lot of material for this. I still have a lot more to come. But this will get us a little bit closer to where the project is currently, and then, believe it or not, there's still an awful lot of work left to do in this, and I didn't want there to be a glut near the end, and that way I'll end up, giving you too many videos all at once, or worse, leaving some material out. Even as it stands, I did not record everything. There's some aspects of this build that, well, either I couldn't record them because of the situation, or they're fairly straightforward, and I didn't think it required, being videotaped. So I will try and give you an explanation of that as they come up. And if you decide that you need a little bit more material or a little bit more detail, just leave a comment below and let me know what you think. So what I'm doing here right now is I am putting together the first of the 4 planters that are going to go on top of the underground filter system. Now this one here is going to sit right on top at the end where the water pump's going to be, and it's going to be right underneath this. And that's the reason why this is going to be quite a shallow planter. It's not really going to have much in the way of things in it. I'm not going to put anything in it like peace lilies or anything along those lines. It is just going to be simple, things that don't really require much in the way of roots. Now, as this project goes on, there's going to be a fair amount of humidity in here, so I'm hoping that the entire thing is going to turn into a high humidity planter. That is yet to prove itself, so I may have to alter the kinds of plants I'm going to put in this, but for the moment, that is my goal. That is what I want it to end up looking like. So there you go. This has got one more side to put on, and then this is the first of the planters. And believe it or not, this one did not get used. I had taken measurements and decided how I wanted it to all look, but until you actually get it into place, especially when you're doing these sorts of things that are not something that I build regularly, this is something I'm kind of figuring out on the fly. It was off by a little bit. I didn't really quite like how it sat, so this one ended up being replaced. Not a big deal. I can salvage the parts, and it's it can be reused, but it needs to have a certain look to the inside of it, and it just didn't quite cut it. So as I mentioned in the last video, I made a bunch of lids, and this is the simple assembly line process I am going through for making each and every one of them. There is currently 13 lids on this tank, and I'm not sure if there's going to be any more. I have to design the last 2. There's only spots for 2 more, but I have to design them a bit differently because I don't want the client to have to take the lid off to feed. I don't like using automatic feeders because if you have automatic feeders, I find that clients don't necessarily look at the fish as much as I would like. And if something's going wrong with the aquarium, it could go on for a little bit longer than I want it to before it gets spotted. So this way, if someone has to go there daily and feed, it does strike them more often than not when something doesn't look quite right. As you can see here, I made a little spacer. This is actually something I've been using quite a bit. All it is just a piece of 1/4 inch, which is the gap, actually the actual thickness of the piece of acrylic that's in the tank. And then I put on a nice thin sheet of 1/8, and that gives me the gap I need so this fits on. And that's where the groove you see is exactly where the side of the tank sits. So that's pretty much it. These are actually very straightforward. I like these lids. I'm using them a lot on a lot of my tanks, and I haven't had any issues with them so far, so that is a good thing. So this is the cross piece just to keep it from warping, and that is pretty much it. They're very straightforward to build. So we're going to get now to the actual tank. So there's going to be some shots here I'm going to show you that are of what it it looks like as it progresses, but I am going to try and explain some of the stuff I did not actually record. I didn't record the building for the brackets for the lights. The reason for that is just simply an L shape of wood, and that's all there is to it. It's just simply sitting there, and the only difficult part, there it is there, the only difficult part was this side here, there's pretty much gyp rock right on concrete. So there was literally nothing there to screw into. So it's mostly silicone in place. And then to reinforce it, I'm not sure it's going to show up in any of these clips, but I put on another L bracket on, well, actually 2 on each side, and glued them into place to give it a little extra support. And then also you see I've slid down 2 of the black backgrounds. Actually, it might pan out here now. No, sorry, it's still not going high enough. You see the L brackets on the bottom, but not the ones on the top. And then I actually still have to put the whole surround on the bottom. That is going to be painted. That is going to have a mural on it, believe it or not, but that's going to take quite some time to get to. So that will be obviously much later. And then that last piece I left off because I had contemplated getting them to do the surround in the same black material, but they decided they wanted to go with the painted murals instead, which is obviously a much better look to it all. So there you go, filling it up now to its final volume. Actually, I think it was a little bit lower than the final volume in this particular one. And now I have all the lids on except the final 2 I told you about. One of them is obviously out of place there right now because I'm putting water in. These 2 corners, they're the ones that are going to be a little bit tricky to decide how to do. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. It's just a matter of talking to the client and seeing where they want to be able to feed and how that's all going to work. So this is a little bit further along now. You can see the water still bubbling up straight. I need to put a deflector on that, and actually the deflector you're going to see here, I think in the last clip, is not the end one. I didn't really quite care for it, but I am getting some plants in here now. There's pothos, there's peace lily, there's a cane there as well. It's a nice cane actually. I like the bit of different color in it. But as you see, half the tank is still empty at this point, and that needs its filtration system to get the water circulating as well. They're efficient at now, which is nice. They're in regularly, so that's all working out quite well too. So this is actually going to come along a lot faster now, but I want that deflection to result in the water going over and trickling down to the tank around that rock. So that is my goal. We'll see if we can actually manage to get there, but as I said, I'm going to put the deflector on in the next clip, but it didn't quite do the trick, so I'm going to have to rethink that one a little bit. So there you go. You can't see it because there's some Java moss on top of there, but for the most part, it is doing what it needs to do, except there's not enough water in the end one. So I'm going to have to fiddle with that a little bit. It's not too big a deal. And the other thing I need to do, as you can see at the bottom there, is I still haven't put all the built-up parts to hide the whole filtration system. That needs to come yet too. So there you go, getting there. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of all this in the comment section below, please. And I will probably be, like I said, a bit of a gap before the next one, but again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.